everybody! All my Lily pals! It feels like it's been a while. I was a little bit indecisive as to what to do for this stream. I had a variety of different ideas. But I know I asked on Twitter, I put up a poll, and it seems like we're reading SCPs tonight. Goody, goody, goody. I always like just lounging back and looking through SCPs, hearing about SCPs. So good. It's also a real time killer. The deeper like you consume them. I know for a little while I've kind of been hooked on like animated videos of all the different sorts that have been popping up like every week. I gotta give props to the people who run those channels. Like, Flash animation is hard, y'all. Like, I gotta commend them for their effort. And I suppose a little, something that's a little different from, at least the way I'm planning to start, you know, something a little different from my past SCP streams. So, might as well, like, just jump right into it. So, a little while ago, I know we've repeatedly kept seeing, like, mentions of the SCP-6000 contest. Checking upon it now, it seems as though the contest has come to an end. Exactly when, I don't remember. I don't remember what day it was. It was just sometime this month. And now there's a winner. You know, all the results... Be hop right into it. Ah, Cruz, you're so funny. So yeah, I decided, like, since the contest just wrapped up recently, why don't we take a look at the winning contender? Yeah, so scroll down here. These are all the entries, and they're sorted by rating. You know, and the ones that still did a decent enough job, like they got included all throughout, what is it now? Generation 7? Yeah. It's Series 7. And, yeah, so right at the top here we have SCP-6000, the Serpent, the Moose, and the Wanderer's Library by Rounderhouse, with 463 upvotes. So it's gotta be good. All of the, like, 1,000 SCPs are usually really good, as per tradition. So, SCP-6000. Oh, that's bumped up to 590, I guess. By order of the Overseer Council, the following file is level 4/6000 classified. Unauthorized access is forbidden. Submit for retinal ID confirmation. Welcome back, Director Moose. Notice from the Foundation Records and Information Security Administration. The following 2 file revisions were found in the SCP-6000 slot when it was automatically pre-generated as an empty placeholder by the SkipNet on June 25th, 2022. No file history was available. Due to the content therein and the questionable circumstances of its discovery, the O5 Council is elected to leave this file unaltered. None of the events that follow have occurred. The coordinates listed as the location of SCP-6000 contain nothing of note. Maria Jones, Director at RISA. So we got a couple of pages here.
Hi, Rem. Thanks for the lurk.
Oh boy, okay. It's just wanting to load up. Project Fusillade. SCP Foundation, Global Occult Coalition, Joint Clearance File. Ooh. Passcode, the garden is the serpent's place. Just a quick primer for those who are a little less familiar with SCP lore. There are other, like, Foundation groups of interest. The Global Occult Coalition is one of them. It's essentially the same as the Foundation, except instead of trying to contain these, they just try to destroy them. But, you know, considering that this is apparently like a collaborative effort, like, it's gotta be a big deal. And then of course there's the Serpent's Hand, which is pretty much just like a fringe, sort of anarchist organization that believes mainly that the world and humanity has a right to know and understand all the anomalies that the Foundation contains, and in essence should live life alongside these anomalies, for better or for worse. So yeah. So, ooh. So level 4, 6000 classified. Item SCP-6000 Keter class. SCP-6000 and SCP-6000-A. These are cool pictures. Okay. Special containment procedures. Current protocol regarding SCP-6000 is to conceal its existence by any means necessary. As the information arm of Project Fusillade, Foundation resources are to be primarily dedicated to disinformation and concealment, while a permanent containment or destruction solution is devised. Any unauthorized individuals entering the SCP-6000 exclusion zone are to be aggressively disincentivized. Further containment details can be found in Addendum 6000.3. Point 3, not dash 3? Description. SCP-6000 is a massive dimensional extrusion centered at... I'm not entirely sure how to read coordinates. 2 degrees 947.181 inches south? Is it foot in inches? I don't know. It's centered at these coordinates in the Amazon rainforest in Brazil. SCP-6000 represents the largest Class W transportation gateway, colloquially known as a way ever encountered by the Foundation. SCP-6000 currently measures 19 kilometers from its northeast to southwest point. The area directly affected by SCP-6000's presence is significantly larger, and a temporary security perimeter has been established around the area at a diameter of 8 kilometers, designated the Exclusion Zone.
Pyoko! Hi, Froggy! Yay! Thank you for the support. I'm glad you tuned in.
We're looking at SCP, they're just starting. Okay, where was I? SCP-6000 is growing at an unstable rate. Its presence has an adverse effect on plant and animal life in the Exclusion Zone. The degree of this effect, along with the size of the Exclusion Zone itself, increases proportionally with SCP-6000. SCP-6000-A, pictured here, Ooh. Oh. Oh, it's not entirely snake. I see. Huh. SCP-6000-A is a sapient semi-ophidian organism discovered within the exclusion zone during initial reconnaissance of SCP-6000. See Addendum 6000.2. It was found in a comatose state surrounded by human corpses. SCP-6000-A's connection with SCP-6000 is under investigation. See Addenda. SCP-6000 connects baseline reality with the extra-dimensional location known as the Wanderer's Library. The Wanderer's Library was first encountered by the Foundation in 1955, but evidence suggests it has played a crucial part in the development of human civilization since at least the beginning of recorded history. See Addendum 6000.1. SCP-6000 first appeared on December 21, 2030, the summer solstice. Summer solstice? It's the winter solstice! Huh. Satellite images of the Amazon rainforest suddenly displayed a significant visual anomaly, and a reconnaissance team was deployed to inspect the area. Addendum 6000.1, the Wanderer's Library Briefing. Yeah, let's go! No, there are two this summer around July 22nd. Yeah, I thought, like, the summer solstice was, like, June or July. You know, 21st, 22nd. But that said December. December 21st. That would be the winter solstice. Methinks there's extra-dimensional shenaniganry occurring here. The Wanderer's Library, designated NX-001, is an extra-dimensional Y-space comprised of a massive library of unclear size and boundaries which contains a potentially infinite amount of books, treatises, essays, and other forms of media and knowledge. Its collection purportedly covers the sum of all knowledge, but with a specific focus on elements of thaumaturgy and magic. The Foundation has been aware of the library since 1955, when the group of interest known as the Serpent's Hand inadvertently exposed the location to agents. The library is maintained by librarians, entities that range in size and shape, but are typically heavily modified humanoids specialized to the service and protection of NX-001. Those who break the rules of the library are subject to being transformed into librarians to work off their debt. This fate has befallen a number of Foundation personnel. NX-001 is closely connected to GOI-014, the Serpent's Hand. The Hand are known to use the library as meeting and staging points for operations due to the relative safety it offers. Numerous attempts have been made by Foundation and GOC forces to penetrate into the library, but almost all have failed. The Foundation, along with the GOC and Chaos Insurgency, were originally barred from the library due to the library's opinions on those who attempt to suppress the abnormal, but have in recent years relaxed their stance. Site-19 Director Tilda Moose has had extensive experience with the Wanderer's Library and the Serpent's Hand as a former Type Blue entity, and has given several security briefings on the topic. And there's a file here. Begin excerpt. Moose. Extra-dimensional is the technical term, though not very descriptive. The library isn't on our world, though it's connected to it. You reach it through ways. Ways are basically magic portals that take you from one place to another. They're scattered around the world. A way can be anything you can picture as a door, or anything like a door. A cave, an archway, the back of a truck. Some of them are just art pieces. I once used a picture of a door to enter the library back when I still could. Oh yes, I used to be a library goer. That was a long time ago, though, back when I ran with other groups. Yeah, I suppose otherworldly is the best word for it. Nothing quite compares. The architecture and decorations they're not alive, but they're mutable, always changing. When I frequented, the place was on an Art Deco kick. Art Deco? You could look up and see the constellations on the false ceiling. That all ended when I joined the Foundation, though. The library does not like us, to say the least. Especially not me. No, I would not like to talk about it. Moving on. Do what you gotta do, babe.
Hi, baby!
We are reading, the winner of the SCP-6000 contest. And so far we're, like there's 2 distinct entries, sort of, and we're still in the first one. So basically, SCP-6000 is like an area in the Amazon rainforest that's extra-dimensional and affects nature and wildlife and stuff. So, Addendum 6000.2, Initial Encounters, Unexplained Event Reports. Location, Amazon Basin, Brazil. Status ongoing. 9 a.m. local time. December 21st, present. Disruption class, Kennek? Event summary. Large visual and spatial anomaly 0.5 kilometers in length, resembling an iridescent rip in space. Nearby flora and fauna altered in shape, color, composition, and size, increasing in alteration by proximity to the anomaly. Long-range visual surveillance suggests that it is a way connected leading to the library, but significantly larger than any previous encountered. Physical confirmation required. Suggest immediate containment team and specialized detachment of MTF Sigma 3. Edit. It's really beautiful, you know? Communication from the 3-man reconnaissance team ceased after this transmission. A ResCon team and a fire team from MTF Sigma 3, the bibliographers, were immediately deployed to the location. They found the surveillance team's equipment and supplies, but none of the three members. Tracks leading away from the site indicated that they had gone into what is now the exclusion zone. While searching for the missing reconnaissance team, personnel discovered the corpses of 12 unknown individuals dressed in robes at the foot of a thaumaturgic ritual circle. In the center of the circle was SCP-6000-A, coiled and in a comatose state. The entity was quickly airlifted into containment at Facility 57. In the interim, one of the fire teams was outfitted for an expedition into SCP-6000. Due to her extensive experience with NX-001, Ways, and the Serpent's Hand, Director Moose was flown in from Facility 57, where she was on an administrative visit to accompany the fire team. Open file. MTF Sigma 3, Bibliographers, and Fire Team Chicago. Chicago 1, Adam McMillan. Chicago 2, Tilda Moose. Chicago 3, Nara Floors. And Chicago 4, Esteban Bardem. Begin log. Beginning approach to SCP-6000. No sign of the recon team. Copy that. Chicago cuts through the tree line, advancing through the thick foliage. Wait, you guys hear something? Chicago freezes. Indistinct noises can be heard faintly. It's coming from the anomaly. You're still a click and a half out, Chicago. Copy. Keep moving. Chicago continue to advance through the jungle. There's something wrong with the air command. It's all shimmery, like an oil slick. Oil sheen on the plants. I've never seen anything quite like it. Taking sample photos. Look at this. A large portion of the tree trunk extending several dozen feet high has been transfigured into a bookshelf. There are no books present. When did that happen? It's still happening. Look! The trees immediately nearby are undergoing the same process as the bark and wood disintegrate to form natural bookshelves. This definitely isn't a normal way. Eyes up, folks. We're about to break over the ridge, Command. Copy that, Chicago. You are clear. Holy shit. Hold on. Chicago 1 adjusts his body camera. A large swath of the forest has completely disappeared and has been replaced with a large cut in space leading into an empty wing of NX-001. No books are on the massive shelves and no entities are visible inside. It's empty. That's new. What the hell? Weird. Command, permission to investigate? Stand by. Permission granted, but 2 is gonna have to stay outside. Don't want to risk pissing them off. Of course. Roger. Chicago 3 shrugs off her assault rifle and sidearm, laying them on the ground. Chicago 2 draws her handgun. Chicago advances into the clearing, their boots clunking. Huh. Chicago 1 kicks the dirt on the ground. His boot hits something hard. It's hardwood, just covered by dirt. What the fuck is going on here? Chicago approached SCP-6000's edge, looking inside. Hello? Anyone there? Silence. Permission to move in, Command? Permission granted. Be careful. Chicago steps through SCP-6000, arriving on the other side. Chicago 2 remains on the Earth's side. Command, you read? Loud and clear. Anything? It's totally empty. I don't like this. This place feels different from the library. I thought that was just me. No, definitely different. Look at the ceiling. There's no roof, it's just dark. The shelves are unvarnished. It's unfinished. I didn't realize that could happen. Distantly, a large noise is audible. Chicago adopts a defensive position. Oh shit. A massive red millipede passes between 2 shelves ahead, ignoring Chicago. Its pincers skitter. Archivist. Command, please advise. You are authorized to attempt to peacefully engage. Air support has been scrambled from Facility 57 as backup. Copy. Hey! Hello? Entity turns to Chicago and screeches, slamming its pincers together. A feminine hiss is heard. I see your intentions. Be gone. Several Class 3 librarian entities clamber over the tops of nearby shelves. They are humanoid arachnids with elongated bodies, 4 eyes, and additional limbs. They wear the uniform of the reconnaissance team. Oh, Jesus. Hey, we've done nothing wrong. We haven't broken the rules. What is this? The librarians begin descending the shelves and advancing. Chicago begins to move backward, closer to SCP-6000. Guys, pull out, now. Go! Chicago turns and runs towards SCP-6000, several dozen meters away. The librarians drop to the ground and lope along in pursuit, considerably faster but farther away. 1 catches up to and tackles Chicago 4, bringing him to the ground. Chicago 2 draws her handgun from the other side and fires into NX-001. Fuck! Fuck! Help! Chicago 3 turns and rushes to aid him, punching the librarian in the jaw. Several Class 2 librarians, hooded entities several meters high, holding lanterns, around the corner. Chicago 3 turns to Chicago 1. What the fuck are you waiting for? Run! Chicago 1 turns and runs with librarians less than a meter behind him. Throwing himself through SCP-6000 just as 2 AH-171Z Vipers from MTF Delta 45, Rolling Thunder, swoop into the clearing, laying suppressive fire near SCP-6000. Chicago 1 and Chicago 2 are rappelled up and safely recovered. End log. Whoop. Here. Almost. The sudden unprovoked hostility from NX-001 and transformation of the reconnaissance team into librarians, a punishment typically reserved for serious breaks in NX-001 law, prompted an emergency council meeting the next day while MTF Delta 45 maintained the security perimeter around SCP-6000. Chicago 1, Agent Adam McMillan, and Chicago 2, Director Tilda Moose, were evacuated to Facility 57, the ad hoc organizational facility for the containment of Addendum 6000.3. Containment response. Due to its relatively remote location, the threat posed was not as significant as it could have been. Nevertheless, the possible threat of a permanent large Class W way on Earth was significant. On December 23rd, SCP Overcom, then known as Overwatch Command, authorized the first series of containment and mitigation protocols for the in situ containment of SCP-6000. These were packaged together as Project Fusillade. The designation of Facility 57 is official containment facility as official containment facility of SCP-6000. I can read perfectly fine. I think my mouth is having trouble keeping up with my brain. The construction of a fence around the exclusion zone to deter wildlife and travelers, the requisition of resources for the long-term study of SCP-6000, the arrest of known cells of GOI-14, the Serpent's Hand, and the authorization of members of MTF Sigma-3 to aggressively seek out means of combating NX-001. Council vote summary. Okay, so that's just O5 Council. That is... There was 1 objection, and 2 abstained. Shortly after this, SCP-6000-A awoke from its comatose state during preliminary examination by medical personnel at Facility 57. It immediately attacked, but was quickly disabled by security guards. While in containment, SCP-6000-A repeatedly referenced the Wanderer's Library and the Serpent's Hand. Due to her status as the senior personnel with the most experience regarding NX-001, Director Moose was authorized to perform investigative interviews accompanied by armed guards to attempt to gain information on the subject. And I assume this is the interview file. Yep, and here we got a snake lady. Begin log. Hello? Jailer. Footnote. Slang used by members of the Serpent's Hand to refer to the Foundation. Yeah, they're called... Wow. I haven't been called that in a minute. Your hand, then? No. Maybe. What do you remember? Floating in a void. Dreaming. Sitting under an apple tree. Hearing something whisper stories into my ear. Then waking up here on a cold metal table surrounded by men with knives. Sorry about that. So you don't remember how you found yourself like this? No. Is there something wrong with my appearance? Oh, you'll, take a look for yourself. Moose points at a mirror on the wall. SCP-6000-A touches its face gingerly, running its fingers up and down the scales. Oh. So you didn't know. Okay. No, this is... new. The voice did say that it would mold me its image, but... what voice? I don't know how long I was dreaming, but it was with me the whole time, dangling from the branches of the tree, murmuring tales and stories and myths, stories about the jailers, the book burners, and the library itself. Book burners are the Global Occult Coalition. But you wouldn't know about that. I do, as it happens. I've been in the library many times. Used to, anyway. I remember being told that some jailers could enter. Why, beyond me. Various reasons. Information, travel, but there are quite a few restrictions. They're not allowed to help the rest of the Foundation contain anything. Is that not what you were doing to me? The situation has changed, to put it lightly. Ah, the way, yes? So you do know something about all this. Tell me. And why would I do that? Because you've been cooperative enough. Because I went in and now 6 of my people have been torn apart by the librarians. Because you still have some humanity left over. Take your pick. A trade. A story for a story. My mind is bursting with stories, but the only way to know a story is to tell it. Why don't you tell me the story of your last time in the library? Why do you care about that? Because I remember the feeling of the library, but I can't remember anything about it. Maybe you will awaken something. Control instructs Moose to cooperate. It was must have been 15 years ago by now. I was on the rocks with the Hand. We didn't really agree on how we should go about improving the world that we live in. There's a section of the library, the 5 archives. I don't know if you remember. I do. Great stone vaults filled with knowledge considered forbidden even by the library's standards, where new librarians are made. Impossible to get to. Yeah, that's what they all said. Nothing's impossible if you know the magic well enough. I spent months preparing and then set the rituals alight. Only took a few minutes and then I was inside, the staff none the wiser. I've never heard this story. What did you do? I took some things. Books, maps of ways, lists, things that, if given to the Foundation, would give them a tactical edge in dealing with the library. Then I left the way I came. You betrayed the library. Yeah, no other way to put it. Describe the place to me. The library? I'm hoping you already know on some level. Trying to describe it to anyone who hasn't seen it is like trying to explain the difference between 2 colors to a blind man. It's utterly alien, foreign, beyond the cusp of understanding. It's wondrous and magic, and it's bitter and spiteful. Center of the universe. Maybe it is. I wouldn't be surprised. Place is infinite. No, not infinite. Just merely impossibly large. What's the difference? It's eternally expanding as new stories are written and new knowledge is found. It expands and consumes dead stories, stories that have ended into itself, to turn them into shelves for other stories so that something new might exist in their place. Huh. My story is about that, a bit. Once upon a time, there was a little girl who woke up and found she could spin fire. She lit toys, candles, papers on fire, until men with guns kicked down the door to her tenement and tried to take her away. That was when she learned she could also light people on fire, and found that it was much less fun. She then ran and ran until she met people, street witches and miracle makers, who were just like her. A world where she could be herself without fear of reprisal. The library. Yes, she walked among the shelves and saw the documents? And read every single story she wanted. But she came across a problem. Every story ended. Some were short, some were long, but they all came to an end sooner or later. How is that a problem? It wasn't, not really. But she couldn't stop thinking about the end of the stories, and one question always ringing out. What happened after? Did the characters struggle against their end, or was it a calm affair? I can relate, but what does this have to do with us? I don't know. I'm still sorting through the stories. I simply pick that which seems relevant, but I'd look for the Serpent's Hand. They helped the girl. Maybe they can help you. I'm not gonna close it, just for risk of maintaining my place. Addendum 6000.4 Fusillade Responses. Upon SCP-6000-A's suggestion and in line with Project Fusillade, on December 27, 2030, SCP-Overcom approved Operation Black Star for MTFs worldwide to make simultaneous raids on the known headquarters of major Serpent's Hand cells. On December 28th, Operation Black Star was successfully executed. And this is the log. MTF Pi 1 City Slickers, Fireteam Dragon in Shanghai, China, translated from Mandarin. Begin log. Dragon 1, Dragon 2, Dragon 3. Ready. 2, take point. Affirmative. 3, ready. 3, 2, 1, breach! Go! Explosion. Clear! Clear! Clear. They're gone. End log. Oh. Oh. Serpent's Hand members were gone. All 57 had been completely cleared out and were free of GOI 014 members or materials. In 30 of them, Class W gateways were and are still active, leading into the same section of NX-001 as SCP-6000. By all appearances, the Serpent's Hand had completely abandoned the planet, leaving active ways peppered across the globe. At this point, SCP-6000 had grown to 1 kilometer across, and the exclusion zone had expanded to 3 kilometers. Director Tilda Moose was asked to prepare a statement detailing her thoughts on the situation for the O5 Council. I don't know what precipitated this, but if the library is turned against humanity, the situation is going to be dire. It's a completely alien entity to us. We can't even begin to understand why it is or does the things it does. Hell, we don't even know if there's a rhyme or reason to anything. Most Foundation personnel only know of the library in the abstract, but I and a handful of others have actually stepped foot in the shelves, and we can tell you that it was once humanity's greatest boon and its greatest threat. Imagine how much of history has been influenced by people getting into the library and bringing back knowledge they would otherwise never have had. Now imagine how fucked we'll be if the source of all knowledge in the universe turns on us. I don't see this story having a happy ending. T. Moose. Director Moose has been temporarily relieved of her duties at Site-19 to consult on SCP-6000 containment efforts at Facility 57. Addendum 6000.5 Fusillade Containment Efforts. An incident committee was hastily assembled at Facility 57 on January 19th. I'm gonna take a drink quick.
Hey, wifey.
Tonight's coffee is Sumatra. Okay, so Director Tilda Moose, Agent Adam McMillan, Applied Force Liaison Joseph Kurtz, and Large-Scale Containment Specialist Jay Vasquez. Begin log. No, the Amazon is too... or Vasquez. No, the Amazon is too high profile for that sort of thing. Have we considered the Atreus Array? Moose. Initial experiments out of the exclusion zone using SRAs on SCP-6000 seem to have had no effect. Vasquez. Damn it! What the fuck is this thing? Moose. It's a way. Ways aren't matter. They're not quite energy. We barely understand anything about them. Macmillan. Waves dissipate a few minutes after formation. It's been weeks, and SCP-6000 has only gotten larger. None of the new waves have dissipated either. Something's obviously changed. Moose. Yes, but what? We have no idea and no leads. Well, not no leads. Oh right, the snake thing you pulled out. What the hell is that thing's story? I don't know. It doesn't remember anything before we picked it up. It's definitely more connected to the library than it's letting on, or that it remembers. Well, keep working on it. In the meantime, we've got new reports out of the exclusion zone detailing what SCP-6000 is doing to the flora and fauna. It's... I don't know how to phrase this, so it's libraryifying everything around it. When I was in there, I saw the trees turning into shelves. Writing appeared on the leaves. That sort of thing, I bet. Essentially, the animals are also being distorted and changed. We've spotted jaguars with extra limbs, birds 2 feet tall and with writing all over their wings, etc. It's warping the landscape into part of the library. And the larger SCP-6000 gets, the larger the exclusion zone gets. That's bad news. To say the least. That said, I have some ideas that are worth trying. Let's hope one of them works. Abridged Fusillade Containment Attempts Log. Proposed containment. Used flame and heat-based weaponry such as flamethrowers to incinerate trees affected by SCP-6000. Results. Affected trees within the exclusion zone proved resistant to heat-based weaponry, rapidly regenerating all burnt matter. Proposal. Fire high-yield explosives into the mouth of SCP-6000. Results. Explosives repeatedly failed to detonate after crossing the threshold into NX-001. Proposal. Train the Atreus Array, a satellite-based SRA system, upon SCP-6000 at full power. Results. SCP-6000 in the exclusion zone completely unaffected, and 34 more entries abridged. Begin log. It's with Moose and Snake Lady again. Hi again, Jailer. Why do you keep calling me that? You're not Hand. You can't even remember the library. Oh, but I can. I can remember some things now. Not everything, but hopefully it will come. Really, what is it? I remember being a young woman in the Dynodon's hand, searching for the worship of knowledge in the library and out. Worship? Awfully religious for the Hand, I damn well know. I ran with them for years. Really? And now you're a Foundation director. What changed? I don't want to talk about it, but suffice to say, maybe not all knowledge is meant to be shared. Anyway, you were saying? Yes. The Hand started out as a cult thousands of years ago. The Hand of the Serpent, a warrior cult dedicated to the worship of the serpent that created the library. The serpent? Knowledge incarnate. The spirit of learning. The Naga, Jormungandr, the snake in the tree. Every mythical snake iconography is said to stem from the primal serpent. But no one knows if it's actually real. Shh. Let me finish my story, Jailer. The Hand were powerful, long-lived monks, but eventually died out, leaving their teachings behind. Theses, passages, essays on why the spread of knowledge was the greatest honor possible and should be done at all possible cost. Many years later, people from this world discovered these writings and christened themselves the New Serpent's Hand, the one you and I know today. They shed the trappings of ritual, but the worship of knowledge as an ideal remains. Wow, I had no idea about the origins. They never told me. Neither did I when I joined. This is a new story whispered to me by the serpent in my dreams. Wait, what? Draw the lines and connect the dots, Jailer. The serpent is real. She is the spirit of the library. And in a ritual circle over an intersection of ley lines in the Amazon rainforest, I spoke to her. And you heard stories. And I heard stories. Of her singing the library into reality at the beginning of creation, of her molding its halls and then retiring to slumber under its foundations in exhaustion, of patrons wandering down and speaking to her even now. Wow. And of stories utterly unrelated to her. Do any of these stories help me? Heroes of old figuring out to stop the library when it goes insane and out of control, bent on destruction. The library's not supposed to kill or invade. It's beyond all that. It's neutral to a fault. I just don't understand why this is happening. No. No stories like that, Jailer. I'm sorry, but that's not how this story ends. Endings are mutable. Oh no, that's not true. Endings are set in stone. But endings don't matter anyway. How's that? To any observer, your story ended when you betrayed the library and came to the Foundation. But it didn't. You didn't stop existing. You just transitioned to a new narrative, one where you were the director of Site-19. That's not a narrative, it's my goddamn life. I never finished my story, did I? The little girl read and read and read, until one day, she realized she had a problem. Of course they all ended, but she moved on to the next story. There were always more stories. No point in lamenting what was inevitable when she could move on. I only wish it ran like that in real life. Yes, All the stories I see with the Foundation staring down the end of the world. They have the book burners by their side. I suppose there's something to say there. Rivals allying themselves against a threat greater than either could imagine. Smoking ash. A fusillade of fire against a wall of trees. Wait, a fusillade? How did you go now? I'm sinking into this. Addendum 6000.6, the GOC inclusion. Per SCP-6000-A's statements, a vote was held on whether to declassify details of SCP-6000, the surrounding situation, and Project Fusillade to liaisons of the United Nations Global Occult Coalition in exchange for assistance in containing or terminating the anomaly. And the majority of O5 said yay, 4 said nay, and 2 abstained. Diplomatic agents were deployed to the GOC's operating headquarters in Germany for a pre-arranged meeting with material regarding the current status of SCP-6000 and associated subjects. Upon deliberation, GOC officials inked a statement indicating interest in expanding Project Fusillade to a joint venture. Within the following days, GOC Physics, Psychic, and Ptolemy Division personnel were transported to Facility 57 to aid in research and containment of SCP-6000, which had grown to 2 kilometers across. Due to the unprecedented failure of Fireteam Chicago, both the O5 Council and GOC Command authorized a mission for GOC Strike Team 9842, Probable Cause, to perform a rapid surgical strike to attempt to gain access to the Wanderer's Library and ascertain the situation from the inside. GOC Strike Team 9842 Probable Cause, codename Harbor. Agent Adam McMillan and Director Moose advising from Command. Begin log. Moving through the forest. Copy that. This place is fucked up, Command. All the trees are stripped and filled with books. They're empty, too. Just leather-bound blank pages. Take a sample? Negative, Harbor. Get in, get out ASAP. Roger. Contact! A large figure passes through the tree line ahead. Harbor drops to the ground, silent and unmoving. There for a minute. Clear? Clear. What the fuck was that? Command? It looked like a librarian. Class D, KTED. Sorry, not used to the gawk slang. Roger. No worries, Skipper. Let's move. Skipper. Coming up on the TE now. Holy shit, it's huge! SCP-6000, Harbor 2. Wow. That's cool. Estimate, Harbor? Gotta be 3.5 clicks minimum. Roger. Any entities in sight? Negative. Moving. Harbor rushes from the tree line through SCP-6000 and into NX-001. We're in. You read? Yep. Remember, see if you can find anything or anyone that looks like it could answer some questions. Roger. Going quiet. Harbor moves through the empty shelves of the library, progressively clearing corridors for several minutes. They eventually find a lectern holding a single thin book. Got something. Harbor 3 moves to the lectern. The book's cover is green leather and has the title In Progress embossed into it. Odd. Taking it. Roger. The same hissing, unidentified voice from Chicago's incursion is audible. No, you are not. Who said that? Why are you here? Do not lie to me. Fuck. Harbor? Harbor, come in. We're following orders. No. Why are you here? I don't know. Because you wanted to see what the other side of the Fade was like. Don't worry. Curiosity is a virtue. Once I saw a patron here desperately consumed with questions about the logic of the library. He wanted to know how infinity worked. How was it possible that the library could be truly infinite? Where did the space come from? From stories, of course. The library takes finished stories into its shelves and takes finished worlds into itself, often one and the same. You are book burners, but you are pure of heart. Little children ordered around by men who hate what is going to happen to their story. You are welcome here, all of you. You survived for a reason. Both of you. Signal cuts out. After Harbor's signal cut out, SCP-6000 exhibited a rapid growth pattern, growing to nearly 3 kilometers in a matter of 2 hours. Foundation deep well solutions began being considered. Addendum 6000.7 Veil Failure. Following Operation Harbor, several radio signals began broadcasting from SCP-6000 in all ways found during Operation Black Star at various frequencies. That's a typo. The message contained therein was simply the same hissing feminine voice repeating the same coordinates of SCP-6000's epicenter in the phrase, "The garden is the serpent's place." Within hours, the larger global community had discovered the signal, and it began to quickly accrue attention online and through the media despite significant Foundation efforts to impede its discussion. Ithagon Gang Lead, January 29th, 2031, Wednesday, 11:50 p.m., yada yada yada. You guys seen the pictures coming out of Brazil? MSM's probably gonna get a hold of it by tomorrow and suppress the story, but it's insane. I have no clue what the hell is going on in the Amazon, but the pictures make it look like some sort of oil slick. It's kind of beautiful. God, I feel that. MSMs. Ugh. Wall Street Journal Magazine, The Amazon Anomaly. Arctic Abode. February 1st, Thursday. OP. Yep, turns out I'm not nuts. My friends have been hearing it on their car radios and hams too. A woman's voice, sort of nasally, repeating numbers. Coordinates, I think, and the words, "The garden is the serpent's place." Sounds biblical, maybe a passphrase of some sort. Now here's the kicker. If you look on Google Earth or anything for the coordinates, everything's fine. It's ordinary. But if you use a backdoor to get into a wildlife observations cameras scattered around, the cameras went offline immediately after, but I managed to save this image. Starting to think I should go down there. This could be big. Guardian.co.uk, and she's Brazil under lockdown. Containment efforts simply contributed to individuals' belief of a conspiracy and eventually resulted in several individuals attempting to reach the exclusion zone on foot over the following weeks. While individuals were amnesticized, the larger movements surrounding SCP-6000 continued and is continuing to grow. The knowledge of SCP-6000's presence to the global community seemed to rapidly accelerate its growth. In the following hours, it's expanded to nearly 6 kilometers across, with no signs of stopping. GOC tactical nuclear solutions are being considered. In addition, on January 21st, Agent Macmillan failed to appear to several Fusillade briefings and meetings. A search of his quarters at Facility 57 revealed a thaumaturgic ritual circle drawn into the floor. Surveillance camera footage displayed him spending an hour the night beforehand crafting the circle before performing a ritual of unclear purpose, and disappearing from his quarters at 7:55 a.m. local time. Footnote. Agent Macmillan's thaumaturgic capabilities were believed to be burned out. Surveillance footage from the exclusion zone showed a sudden burst of light at the same time, and a glimpse of Agent Macmillan moving through the foliage, presumably into SCP-6000. The following note was left in his quarters in a sealed envelope addressed to Director Moose. Sorry, Tilly. I used to spend weeks in the library's shelves, perusing everything I could come across. It was otherworldly in the most literal sense of the word. I'm sure you understand the feeling. The difference is that you couldn't go in. You made the choice between the library and Foundation. When I first entered, it was just a mission. I experienced something amazing. something well beyond what I thought was ever possible. And I thought it was a damn shame that we looked at something so magnificent and only worried about how it might hurt us. I can see now that's not the case. The librarians are only hurting the people that try to stop the expansion. I have no intention of doing that. This is the end of the story, not the one where we somehow come up with a silver bullet to fix everything. The only thing I can do is change how I feel about it. I just want to sit in the shelves and see the false stars again. I think this is my happy ending. AM. And another one. More moose and snake woman. Begin log. Jesus. You knew, didn't you, how the story would end? Of course. I've been waiting. I've been telling you that. What? I told you right at the start. Story. You don't find a silver bullet to fix everything, jailer. That's not how it goes. Well, I'm not going to... I don't know... You sent 4 good men to their deaths. No, I didn't. No one has died, jailer. Weren't you listening to the serpent? What did you just say? You already knew in your heart. Who else could it have been? Adam. I don't know. He abandoned the rest of us. No, he didn't. I tire of telling you things you already know. Then tell me something I don't know. Explain everything to me. I wish I could. Explaining it to you would be like... You don't scream into your book when the characters frustrate you. You can't do anything. You have to watch it play out. So what, this is just entertainment to you? No. Stories aren't always entertainment. When I communed with the serpent in search of knowledge, knowledge was what I received, just in the form of stories. All the knowledge, every story that I could remember. The GOC story, Adam's story, your story. Then tell me how it ends. Tell me so I can know I did everything I possibly could to stop it. You already know, Moose. Denial fixes nothing. I learned it as a little girl, and you learn it now. You don't get to pick your ending. You only get to choose how you take it. So the girl was you then? Yes. Even I didn't realize until now. The memories have come back. I came to that ritual wanting to know how my story ended, and I learned how this world's story ended. Luckily for me, they were one and the same. Stories are bullshit. Stories are all there is. This one ends with 2 people sitting in a room, talking, and then they vanish into thin air. Sobering. In a sense, you should be flattered. Why in the world would I be flattered? You left the library on your terms, and you won't admit it to anyone, but I see it written on your face. You want to see it again. Like hell I do. It's wondrous, but everyone talks about it like paradise. It screwed me long before I screwed it. Bitterness gets you nowhere. That's true. I have work to do. Rot then. I love the snake lady! Okay. Finally, towards the bottom of the page. Addendum 6000.8. Ongoing containment attempts. With the unprecedented failure of the Veil Protocol and the ensuing response by NX-001, the entire Amazon basin has been quarantined and placed in Foundation and GOC jurisdiction under Project Fusillade. SCP-6000 has now expanded to 13 kilometers in length, and its rate of growth has increased. At the moment, plans are being drafted for a BM-class Broken Masquerade scenario. Update to latest revision. Oh, this is the second. This is the link to, the second, article. Because this is just the first article. And it's lengthy, it's beefy. Gotta wait for the page to load. Page load, Firefox, please work with me. also going into dark theme for no discernible reason. Level 1, 6000 classified, SCP-6000. This is Apollyon. I forget what Apollyon means. Oh. Ooh. Looks like containment efforts weren't so successful. Special containment procedures. Containment of SCP-6000 has failed. All Foundation and Fusillade personnel left on Earth should report to their site's HMCL supervisor to receive further instructions. Description: SCP-6000 is the section of the Earth that has been transformed into a section of the extra-dimensional location known as the Wanderer's Library. Currently, SCP-6000 covers the entirety of the Western Hemisphere and is increasing in size. Oh god. SCP-6000's transformation began in the Amazon basin in South America and continued across the entire hemisphere in the following weeks. Despite Joint Foundation GOC efforts under the Project Fusillade banner to impede its progress. All population centers, Foundation, GOC, and Fusillade sites inside SCP-6000 are considered lost. The Veil Protocol is to be disregarded. Currently, containment of SCP-6000 involves evacuating Fusillade personnel to designated extra-dimensional backup sites. SCP-6000 covers 58% of the Earth's surface and is actively growing. Projections indicate it will cover the entire planet within 2 and 2.5 weeks. Addendum 6000.1. The following was the final audio log recorded and broadcast from Facility 57 before it was completely subsumed into SCP-6000. While it was believed all personnel and useful anomalies had been evacuated, investigation revealed that Director Moose had never boarded any of the evacuation choppers in the chaos. After this audio file's recording, both figures disappeared from Facility 57's biometric scanners. Seconds later, the facility was subsumed by SCP-6000. Begin excerpt. So, what happens now? What do you mean? We wait. What else is there to do? Nothing, I suppose. We wait. Then what are you worried about? I'm not sure. You really shouldn't worry, you know. And why's that? Leaving this world is not as scary as it sounds. I think you're understating what's about to happen. What's about to happen, then? This is what always happens. This is natural. No. To hell with that. There's nothing natural about this. The world is being eaten alive. We're sitting and we can't do anything about it. Do you think there's going to be anything after this? I don't believe in God, if that's what you're asking. Anyone who works at the Foundation and still believes in God has more faith than the Pope. That's not what I'm asking. What do you think is going to happen after the Way covers the world? There's just going to be nothing? Of course. It's subsuming the world, replacing it. And that's where you're wrong. What? SCP-6000-A lights a cigarette with her finger. I don't understand, Director. You know, on a logical level, that the sun is going to burn out one day. You go through every day of your life through the motions, knowing that there is a shelf life on the universe. There is always an ending. Yeah, but those are natural. The slow, agonizing heat death of the universe, watching every star go dark one by one as they no longer find themselves capable of exploding into existence. What makes that more natural than this? This has always been the Foundation's fatal flaw, an inability to adapt and survive. That changes nothing. It changes everything, Tilda. We all live and work knowing nothing goes on forever. But we don't let knowing there is an end ruin the story for us. And here's the part that matters. There are always more stories. I don't understand. The library is all stories. Where there was once one story about a Foundation and their valiant stand down with the end of the world, there will be 1,000 million new stories and 1,000 million new worlds inside them. The library doesn't just connect all worlds, it is all worlds. Every world a story, every story a world, and everything that matters. So it's not out of control. This is the end of the story, and we're becoming part of the library. I suppose you could put it that way. Didn't you want to visit the library again? You seemed like you missed it. Agent McMillan certainly did. Now come on. Unlock. You don't want to miss the end of the world, do you? What? So, what? Nothing I or Adam or anyone could have done would have stopped it? It was pointless? The point was the same thing that it's ever been. To make new stories where there was once nothing. Be happy, Tilda. Your story is gonna be remembered forever. And... huh. 2 more offsets. Let's see the first one. What if I don't want new stories? Oh? Ah! That's clever. That's very, very clever. Yeah, there's like an offset, or like a section of the SCP Wiki that's like written in the format of the Wanderer's Library. I should have expected something like this to happen. Because of course it would. Okay. SCP-6000-A smiled a snake-like laugh and waggled a finger at her through its handcuffs. Director, we've been over this. You don't get to pick the ending of the story. She looked down. But you do get to pick how you decide to take it. You can sit down and weep that the old stories you grew to love are gone. Or you can smile and move on to the next shelf. Up. They weren't in holding cell B918 anymore. They were standing between 2 gargantuan bookshelves that seemed to go on forever before suddenly diverging into more bookshelves. Every space was filled with the spine of a different book, massive tomes to paper-thin leaflets. There were people of all shapes and sizes in robes sitting here and there, perusing the collection. The sky was a black void, dotted with constellations. She could smell the scent of fresh paper. Welcome home, jailer. SCP-6000-A was gone. In its place was a young Asian woman, maybe 5 feet tall, with the tattoo of a snake wrapped around a wrist on her face. She found her voice again. How? I've been telling you, the library is the end of your story, but that doesn't have to be a bad thing, because you get to move on to the next story. She gestures around her, and a few of the other patrons looked up. A few shrugged off their hoods. Adam, and Vasquez, and Kurtz, and Bartum, and Flores, too. She even thought she saw some of the O5s in the crowd. The end isn't death, Tilly. You were stubbornly clinging to that idea for so long. There'll be new stories, more worlds with the Foundation, with me. Around her house proposal, everything we fought for, everything we did. There already are. So, she reached over and pulled out a book with a soft gray cover. The front was embossed with SCP-6000 in ornate lettering. Get to reading. And that's a link to the entire, like, 7th series. She looked around at the impossibly huge library. In the distance, she spotted the same giant insect that had greeted her when the fire team first went in. It waved a pincer at her. I think this is it. This is what? My happy ending. And then this is just, like, to the hub of the Wanderer's Library. Okay, so what was the second one? What was the alternative? I want to see. And of course, thank you for reading Rounder House. Rounder House, you bastard! No! Okay. You think people will read about us? Okay, it's... Ah! Firefox! Work with me! You're killing me, Smalls! Okay. Oh, wait. Oh, it's just the same thing. It says offset 4. Is there any difference? No. No, it's the exact same page. Well, whoops. Don't want to click that. Well, frankly, that's for the best. Ooh! That was SCP-6000! I adore it so much. This is so cool, I know! This might actually be one of my favorites. One of my favorites so far. Like, it's going right into the top 10. I don't know if it surpasses SCP-4000, but like, I really, really like this. Great job, Rounder House. Congratulations, you deserve it. You deserve to have all that as SCP-6000. That was great. Okay, so now, you know, I think in the spirit of the Wanderer's Library, why don't we continue looking at some of the Series 7 entries? I think that sounds splendiferous. Okay, of course there's still like a myriad of pages that are not yet created. Let's see. It's better to be safe than sorry. Take me on. I'll be gone in a day or two. Therianthropy virus? I like werewolves. So this I gotta see. SCP-6090. And of course, like, there has to be a lot of, like, fancier formatting. Therianthropy Department, harnessing polymorphism. This is new. I haven't seen this setup before. This formatting specifically. Rating of 57. Once upon a time, we ruled over all. Our queen and her sisters stood so tall, but then our queen's sister would have the gall to embrace the lesser beneath us all. We loved both mortals and all of nature, so our queen twisted their forms to mock her, turning nature into weapons for us, making it so wondrously dangerous. Even now we can wield her power still. We can bend all of nature to our will. Even these tiny organic machines spread our queen's curse by their infectious means. Turning men to beasts is only the start. We won't stop till we've reclaimed our queen's heart. Even now mortals still use its power to run a factory so vile and dour. Someday we'll bring it all crashing down, then our queen will rise and reclaim her crown. Knowing who we are does nothing for you. Get in our way again, and you'll fall too. The Mabites, the Mabites, the Mabites, the Mabites, the Mabites. That's a mention of the factory. That's one of the proposals for SCP-1. Okay, SCP-6090, level 2 restricted, containment class Keter, secondary class Flor Galana. I'm not sure what that means. Disruption class Dark, risk class Danger. Okay. Security breach 2021, June 14th. A remote attempt was made to modify this file. An info hazard was conceptually attached. Attempts to remove it are still ongoing. So, SCP-6090, object class Keter is struck out and replaced with Flor Galana. Item aids the Foundation in partially containing itself and/or other anomalies, but cannot be fully contained for logistical and/or ethical reasons. I see. Special containment procedures. All infected non-human organisms will henceforth be referred to as SCP-6090-A instances. SCP-6090-A instances are to be kept in standard animal containment units. All contact between SCP-6090-A instances and non-infected animals is strictly prohibited without approval from a researcher with level 3 or higher clearance. All contact is to be closely monitored at all times. All safeguards are to be taken to prevent bleeding, injuries, or any other potential methods of bodily fluid contamination. If contamination does occur, the potentially infected individual is to be immediately given medical aid, administered analgesics, painkillers, and observed for no less than 1 hour. And here it says full moonlight is a cognito hazard for both SCP-6090-A and B instances. All SCP-6090-A instances are to be prevented from exposure to light from a full moon, including lunar eclipses, outside of experiments authorized by a researcher with level 3 or higher clearance. Any SCP-6090-A instance that is exposed is to be guarded and closely monitored for any attempts to breach containment. All contact with exposed SCP-6090-A instances are strictly prohibited, and any exposed SCP-6090 that breach containment are to be terminated immediately. SCP-6090-A instances that exhibit excessive aggressive behavior outside of exposure are to be euthanized if deemed a threat to Foundation personnel. All infected humans will henceforth be referred to as SCP-6090-B instances. To preserve the veil of secrecy, all SCP-6090-B instances are to be relocated to domiciles within anomalous communities under the terms of FACT, which stands for the 1972 Freedom of Anomalous Communities Treaty between the Foundation and the UIU, created and enacted not long after the Foundation's discovery of 3 Portlands. When dealing with an SCP-6090-B instance residing outside the U.S., similar actions are to be taken in accordance with any similar agreements made with its home nation's government. Okay. Unless Foundation containment is deemed necessary and permitted under its exception clauses. All SCP-6090-B instances within the Foundation, contained or employed, are to be provided with appropriate amenities for their unique physiology in addition to standard humanoid amenities. SCP-1690-B instances contained by the Foundation are to be prevented from exposure to light from a full moon outside of experiments authorized by a researcher with level 3 or higher clearance. SCP-1690-B instances employed by the Foundation are strongly advised to avoid exposure to full moonlight. Any SCP-1690-B instance that is exposed will be provided with any necessary mood-suppressing medications to be determined on an individual basis and receive a psychological intervention if appropriate. Description: SCP-1690 is a zoonotic bloodborne virus with universal tropism known to affect all organisms in the phylum Chordata, which it is theorized by some to also affect organisms in the phylum Arthropoda and possibly even specific organisms in other phyla within the kingdom Animalia as well. Experimentation into these possibilities is still pending approval. So basically, phylum Chordata are creatures, they're vertebrates, they're critters with a backbone. Though its effects are noticeably different in humans. The virus can only spread by direct bodily fluid contamination and is only viable for up to 24 hours outside of a living host. The infection rate varies widely depending on the method of transmission and the species involved in the transmission. Crossed out, SCP-1690 is incurable in all cases. As of new findings made during and after Incident 1690-1, SCP-1690 can be cured in humans via an injection derived from venom produced by SCP-1690-B instances with infection source species in the genus Crotalus. This venom has been found to contain specialized toxins and oils that specifically target SCP-1690. SCP-1690-A instances display no physiological changes or anomalous behavior, except when exposed to the light of the full moon. Any exposed instance will display increased aggression and antisocial behavior towards all other organisms. It will be compelled to seek out and attack humans in particular, even if it has had no prior human contact. When an SCP-1690-A instance fails to find humans after a varying length of time, or if it is in a situation that would have access to humans, it will instead proceed to seek out other animals to infect, usually its own species or a species it typically preys upon. When an animal is infected with SCP-1690, the virus seems to take on a template of sorts of that animal's DNA. When an SCP-1690-A instance infects an animal of a different species, another new variant of the virus is created, with a new template fitting the DNA of the new SCP-1690-A instance. The sole exception to this is humans. When an SCP-1690-A instance infects a human, their variant's template overrides parts of the human's DNA with that of the animal species, transforming them into an SCP-1690-B instance. This transformation occurs extremely rapidly, taking no longer than 11 minutes. The mechanisms behind how SCP-1690 achieves this and why it affects humans differently are not fully understood, though current findings show that it integrates itself with human cells, becoming something akin to a new organelle within them. SCP-1690-B instances are polymorphic entities with the ability to shapeshift, hereby referred to as therianthropes. They can alter at will their physiology between a humanoid form and a specimen of the animal species that infected them. However, humans that become infected with SCP-1690 cannot return to their original non-anomalous human form. They typically have two forms which they are able to shapeshift between upon getting infected, though other intermediary forms may be obtained with practice. Base form, the humanoid form, and the one that new SCP-1690-B instances assume upon infection. The body is almost entirely human, except for a functional animal tail attached to the coccyx, and an animal-like head, also known as theriocephaly. Theriocephaly is a physiological condition in which the instance's head strongly resembles that of its infected source animal species, but with some human-like physiological structures persisting, particularly in the orbital region, suborbital ridge, and internal oral region, which better facilitates facial expressions and speech. These animal-human hybrid heads are capable of the full range of human facial expressions and are able to produce all human speech sounds, as well as most, if not all, of the sounds unique to their infection source species. The instance's head, C2 and C3 dermatomes, scroll down, are covered with the same fur, scales, feathers, or other skin growths typical of its infection source animal species. Its C4 dermatome is a transition between these skin growths and its human skin. SCP-6090-B instances have been found to have enhancements to their senses and internal physiology, and even additional new senses in the case of certain infection source species, which can vary with the infection source animal species. Experiments with these enhancements are still ongoing, with investigations into their possible application to create specialized MTF and field agents. Feral form. The animal form, which is virtually indistinguishable from a specimen of the animal species that infected them. The only time it becomes apparent that this is SCP-6090-B instance is when it shapeshifts its head into the same, or to the same theriocephaly physiology of its base form. Extremities of physiological similarities to human hands. This can happen involuntarily when an instance engages in simple human activities while in this form, such as talking or manipulating objects designed for humans. And other forms. With practice, an SCP-6090-B instance can partially shapeshift its base form to possess further physiological traits of its feral form, beyond its head and tail. Nails. The most commonly seen and easily attainable of this polymorphism is shapeshifting the nails of its extremities to possess a similar structure and properties to the equivalent claws, talons, hooves, or other digit endpoints of their infection source animal species, including replicating the subunguous layer not present in human nails. Skin. The second most common polymorphism is the ability to produce the same fur, scales, feathers, or other skin growths of its infection source animal species over the skin of specific dermatomes or the entire body. And advanced. More advanced polymorphism, which involves alteration to its underlying musculature and skeletal structure to create hybrid structures between human and its infection source species, is possible, but has been rarely observed, implying that extensive practice is needed to attain it. The most common amongst the limited observations is alteration of its leg structure to more closely resemble the hind limbs of its infection source animal species. Upon infection, SCP-6090-B instances gain a natural proficiency for operating their feral form and shapeshifting into it with minimal conscious effort. SCP-6090-B instances also gain new instincts and behaviors specific to their infection source species, but these are not particularly compulsive or overpowering. In the case of some infection source species, some of these new instincts and behaviors may also manifest in the instance's base form, but to a much lesser extent than in its feral form. As of new findings made during and after Incident 6090-1, it is theorized that SCP-6090-A instances of anomalous animal species pass on their anomalous traits to all SCP-6090-B instances they infect. This has been demonstrated with an infected instance of SCP-3577. Further experimentation with other anomalous animal species and SCP-6090 is still pending approval. When exposed to the light of a full moon, SCP-6090-B are also compelled to spread SCP-6090 to other humans, though the compulsion is usually subtle and can be resisted easily. Most instances tend to describe it as an itch it can't scratch, though for some resistance it's more difficult, requiring mood-altering medication and psychological intervention. Investigation is still ongoing into possible correlations between an instance's level of compulsion and its personality and overall mental stability outside of full moonlight exposure. Okay, before I continue, I am needing to partake in certain Froggy supplements. So just take a moment. spinning on its foot there. Okay. Alright. Thank you, wifey, for the posture check. I am sitting up straight, and you have redeemed a stream froggy. Would you like blue, purple, red, yellow, or green? Okay, so I'm starting right at addendum, right? I want to put in the stream froggy before I continue. Blue! Blue! You get blue froggy! Right there. Right next to me. There we are. Alright. Alright. Continuing. Addendum. New findings obtained during Incident 6090-1 have led to the potential discovery of the origins of SCP-6090. It is now theorized to be an ancient bioweapon created by the Fae to act as a carrier for a Fae curse. Oh! Oh, is this... Yeah, it links to SCP-4000! Oh, this appeals to me greatly. Investigations into this theory are still ongoing and include the possibility that some inhabitants of the place that may only be described are actually SCP-6090-B instances. It is also possible that the Shakespeare play A Midsummer Night's Dream may in fact be the last remnant of a test log for SCP-6090 and other Fae-created chemical and biological weapons, with the character Nick Bottom being a test subject for SCP-6090 infection. Oh my god. Okay, warning. Incident 6090-1 files are level 3 6090 classified. Any attempt to access these files without level 3 authorization will be logged and will lead to immediate disciplinary action. Will you just try and stop me? Warning. Security Protocols 6090-1 codename Rapport. Incident 6090-1 logs are to be kept as unaltered as possible in order to assist Foundation psychologists, field negotiators, and other personnel in containing POI 6090-4342, Sandra Collins, SCP-6090-B-4342. Any attempt to alter these files without proper authorization will be logged and will lead to disciplinary action. My oh my. Holy shnikes, these are so many logs! Okay, so Section 1, GOI 466 correspondence. I think I'm only going to cover the first 3 sections. The rest, y'all will have to look at on your own. Okay. Wilson's Wildlife Solutions correspondence. And apparently a group of interest. Sent by Dr. Randall Davies, recipient Logan Wessler, date May 26, 2021. Logan, I trust you've arrived at the Clarida Longhorn Cattle Ranch by now. Please brief me on just how bad their coyote situation is. We need to know as quickly as possible if it could be another time travel situation, especially given all the weirdness that happens around Marfa after that one incident the supervisors won't tell us much about. That leaks to SCP-3577, and that is SCP-1730. If that town wasn't weird enough before, it's certainly more so now. You'd think they'd realize their tight lips about stuff like this only works against our efforts. Tell me about it, especially with all the Alaskan critters still running around and messing up the local ecosystem. Been years and we still haven't gotten that bit completely under control yet. Anyway, there's definitely more yotes out there than there should be. At least a few dozen, but we can't be sure they're the time-hopping kind till we've trapped a few. Spent the day looking around, asking around, and tracking them down. Yotes have been running around the ranch like they own the place, but things got really crazy last night. We were all out in the twilight trying to catch glimpses of the supermoon eclipse before sunrise. We were also trying to round up some of the yotes while doing that when one of them broke off from the pack and charged right at us. Scary as hell. Had to blow the poor thing's head off because it wouldn't stop trying to bite us. Might have been rabbits, so I'll have to keep that in mind when trapping the rest. Hope we don't have to put down any more. Logan. Understood. If you didn't damage its brain too badly, please attempt to test it for rabies. Time-traveling coyotes would be bad enough, but time-traveling coyotes retroactively spreading rabies around would be even worse. Keep me posted on the situation as often as possible. Well, shit's hit the fan now! Turns out these are definitely time-hopping yotes, and they are definitely infected, but with something much worse than rabies. Rabies would have been bad, but it don't break the veil like the were virus does. One of the ranch hands, Sandy Collins, woke up with a yote head and tail, and I ain't talking Godfather style here. Her morning screams woke the whole house up. Had to spend most of the day calming her down. Finally went back and checked our notes after supper, and sure enough, there are now copies of them with extra notes about extra yotes. Extra notes about extra yotes. Lucky we also had video of the scene because of the eclipse. Went back to look at it, and yeah, there was a second video file, and it showed 4 crazed yotes coming at us this time. Got lucky and managed to bite Sandy, and her changes are on that video too. I forwarded this whole chain to Bart as well. Hopefully he can get his fluffy tail down here and help handle this situation. Thank you for contacting Dr. Dalton. Oh, this is a new recipient, Dr. Bardolph Dalton. Thank you for contacting Dr. Dalton, as I would have if you hadn't, but I wholeheartedly agree with your initial statement. I'm going to gather up as many volunteers as I can and send them down your way, but the situation is now definitely way over our heads. I've already contacted the supervisors, and the castaways should be out there around the same time Dr. Dalton arrives with whoever else I can find. We got lucky with that whatever vector gave them the therianthropy virus likely passed through within the last month. If it had been further back into the 2 years that had been altered, half the town might have woken up as therianthropes, especially with the spectacle of a lunar eclipse causing them all to go outside and drop their guard. Wilson himself might have had to take the reins then, and he still might end up having to take them now. You and everyone else out there need to trap all the coyotes as quickly as possible, and then examine literally every animal you see there for coyote injuries. Do as much as you can before the cavalry arrives. I don't care what it takes. Deputize the entire ranch if you have to, since they're now inside the veil of secrecy anyway. To put it bluntly, we've just been thrown into a logistical shitstorm, and it will only get worse with each coyote courtship that's allowed to complete. The coyotes are your #1 priority in order to keep this event from getting any worse than it already is. Logan and Randy. Yep, quite the sticky wicket we've got on our hands now. I've already phoned up some of the Therians I know, and I'm working on getting some more to volunteer. Therians. Therian is common shorthand for Therianthrope, yeah. Next full moon's a ways away, but best not to take chances. Can't get infected if you're already infected, after all. We'll be down there in just a few shakes. Keep me posted till then. P.S. Hopefully this will give me a chance to catch up with Ace if the supervisors send him down there. This is Logan. Really been booking it the last day and a half. Night and day we've been tracking yotes down, snaring them up, and snipping their bits before we can even throw them into pens. A good 3 dozen so far, so there shouldn't be any more out there. Here's hoping that'll nip this shit in the bud. The rest of the ranch had been checking all their animals from tip to tail for signs of bites. All except for Sandy, who naturally needed some time alone. So far we found at least 3 longhorns, 4 fallow, and a rattler that was under the house. Got them all penned up from the rest. We'll keep you posted on any more we find until the cavalry arrives tomorrow. Logan, I appreciate your update to the situation, and you have no idea how relieved I am to know that you're already getting everything under control. I knew I was right in picking you to... I am now in active contact with the supervisors on more secure channels. I suggest we end this email chain before they arrive. As much as I hate how tight-lipped they are with us, this is something that we should all try to stay tight-lipped about. Can do. Just found another longhorn with a leg bite, by the way. Hope there aren't too many more needles to find in this haystack. End of correspondence. Goodness. Official correspondence between Mr. Wessler, Dr. Davies, and Dr. Dalton ceased after this final message. From May 29th, 2021 onward, Dr. Davies began relaying updates over closed-circuit secure channels with Foundation liaisons for GOI 466. The severity of a potential retroactive mass outbreak of SCP-6090 via infected SCP-3577 instances warranted the immediate mobilization of 5 operatives of MTF Beta-4 castaways to lead the efforts, along with 4 additional Foundation General researchers experienced in anomalous outbreaks. A road convoy of 4 mobile lab trailers, 6 LAAT trailers, standard Foundation large anomalous animal transport trailer, a modified armor reinforced livestock trailer, and 4 security support trailers was arranged and deployed from Site-64 in order to test for SCP-6090 infection on site, transport all SCP-6090-A instances back to Site-64, and recontain or neutralize them if they should escape en route. Accompanying the Foundation personnel were 27 volunteers and employees of GOI 466. Amongst them were 11 instances of SCP-6090-B, including Dr. Dalton, who were required to remain in feral form while outside any structure controlled by the Foundation or GOI 466. The SCP-6090-B instances covertly assisted in the capture of the remaining SCP-3577 instances, and wild animals suspected of being SCP-6090-A instances. The remaining volunteers assisted in testing every animal present on the Clarida Longhorn Cattle Ranch, Clarida, whichever, and all neighboring ranches within a 10-kilometer radius for SCP-6090 under the cover story of a potential livestock disease outbreak. After 2 days of investigation, it was assessed that SCP-6090-B-4342 Sandra Collins could potentially possess the same anomalous traits as SCP-3577 instances. This is the first documented case of an anomalous animal becoming infected with SCP-6090 and then infecting a human. If confirmed, this would present an unprecedented opportunity to study SCP-3577's abilities from a perspective of sapience, as well as warrant further experimentation with SCP-6090 and anomalous animals. Clearance was obtained for a vanguard portion of a road convoy to transport SCP-6090-B-4342 to Site-64 for further questioning and testing, along with all SCP-6090-A instances captured so far. 2 Foundation researchers and Dr. Dalton accompanied it to perform an initial assessment en route to Site-64. Of the road convoy, Foundation personnel, and GOI 466 affiliates stayed at the affected area to continue the cleanup efforts. And now we have an interview log. Interviewed is Sandra Collins. Interviewers, Dr. Evelyn Antler, Foundation General Researcher, Level 3, Dr. Atticus Ratelican, Foundation Therianthropy Researcher, Level 3, and Dr. Bardolph Dalton, Wilson's Wildlife Solutions Employee. Instance, SCP-1690-B-863 ISS, Canis lupus. And then Sandra Collins is Canis latrans. Infection source species common coyote, and this is a gray wolf, yep. Forward. Video log transcript of initial interview and testing to attempt to determine if SCP-6090-B-4342 possesses similar retroactive reality-bending abilities to those of instances of SCP-3577. Note: interview is being conducted while en route back to Site-64 within a standard Foundation mobile lab. Dr. Dalton and Dr. Antler are seated opposite to SCP-6090-B-4342, with a guard stationed in a corner under standard security protocols. Dr. Ratelican is seated in another corner and as only a partial participant to the interview. Begin log. State your name for the record, please.
Sandra Collins, but you can call me Sandy.
I'm tempted to give her an accent. Thank you. However, I will be addressing you by your SCP-6090-B instance identification number 4342. Dr. Dalton softly barks and mutters quietly. Might as well call me 963 then. You really are as cold as they say. And you obviously aren't taking this seriously.
I really would prefer Sandy.
Well, I'll be calling you Sandy for this interview. Dr. Dalton smiles at 4342. 4342 appears happier as its ears perk up. If you really are as good as they say, Dr. Antler, you'll treat Sandy with some respect. I know this mission hasn't been fun for you, since it seems you hate animals, but at least it's almost over for you. My lack of an affinity for animals is not a topic of this interview. If you're quite done with this pointless banter, I would prefer to return to the actual interview. I know we're all overtired from this non-stop road trip, but let's all try to be nice here. Boring conversation anyway. If it's all the same, I'll just hang back for now. I don't have any pressing questions for Miss Collins at this time, and Bard is taking point on anything therianthropy related. Dr. Ratelican exchanges a smile and nod with Dr. Dalton. Really, I'm just trying to kill time until we get back to Site-64, so I can more thoroughly examine the SCP-6090-A instances we've got with us, especially this little guy. Dr. Ratelican pats an SAACU next to him. Small anomalous animal containment unit. An audible rattle starts and speeds up. Ooh. It's the snack. First ever venomous SCP-6090-A instance recovered by the Foundation. Ooh, I'm excited. Dr. Antler rolls her eyes. Now, 4342, how has your overall mental state been affected since waking up as an SCP-6090-B instance? 4342 growls softly. I think I would rather answer questions from Bard for now. Very well then. You may proceed, Dr. Dalton. At least you're giving me the dignity of my name, though I get the feeling that's only because I'm on this side of the table. Anyway, on to questions. How have you been holding up, love? 4342 looks down and reaches up to feel her face. Dr. Dalton frowns. It still doesn't feel real. None of this does. I keep thinking every moment I'm gonna wake up with my old face again, and this'll all have been some bizarre fever dream. But I've woken up 5 times now, more if I count my naps, and every time it's still there. It's all still there. I'll never look like myself again. 4342 shuts its eyes. Its ears droop and lips start to quiver. Dr. Dalton gently touches her other hand resting on the table. No worries. It'll all be alright. I promise. After this, I'll personally introduce you to a Therian support group. There are plenty of us out there. 4342 sniffs and moves its hand to wipe its nose, missing it on the first attempt. Oh. Thanks. Meeting the other Therian volunteers really helped. Much better off than I was that first night. When exactly will this all be over? And that all depends on the results of these tests. They may warrant further tests and continued containment. And how long will that last? Again, it depends on the results of these tests. Further testing may be required on site. Dr. Dalton pats 4342's hand a few times. If there are more tests, I'm sure they won't take long. 4342 smiles at Bard, its ears perk back up. We need to determine if you possess similar retroactive reality-altering abilities as the anomalous coyote that infected you. If confirmed, we will further test the extent of your abilities. I still don't understand what any of that means. You don't have to. Simply follow the instructions we give you. Okay. Whatever will get me out of containment as soon as possible. Things will never be the same, but at least you've shown me I can still live on looking like this. I can guarantee there will always be a place for you in Boring. You can always use more people on Team WWS. Thanks, but I really hope there's one of these anomalous communities you mentioned somewhere in Texas, or at least in the Southwest. I'm sure I could find something for you down there, too. WWS has set up shop all over the place. Anomalous critters aren't limited to Oregon. Once again, could we all please return to the actual topic of this interview? Guess we should get on with it. Now, 4342, are you ready for this test? I really wish you'd call me Sandy, but fine, I'm ready. I want you to think back to a specific date you went window shopping within the last 2 years, no earlier than June of 2019, preferably a date in the latter half of 2019. We believe older, vaguer memories may work better for this test, and doing anything in 2020 was rather complicated, to say the least. God damn it. Ugh, tell me about it. I'll be glad when that's all over, too. Anyway, yeah, I think I have a date in mind back in October 2019. No, I want you to think of a particular item that caught your eye on that date, something that you could afford at the time and considered purchasing, but didn't. To ensure success, please try to limit it to something that could fit into that small backpack of yours. Dr. Antler gestures to a backpack sitting inside the chamber of a scientific scale on shock absorbers. Yeah, there was a pair of binoculars I really wanted. A bit pricey, but I could have bought them with my credit card. I just wasn't sure how long I'd still have my job at the time. Luckily, I managed to get my contract extended. If I'd known that back then, I would have definitely bought them. Good. Finally, did you use a cloud-based digital calendar at that time, one that you still have access to? I'm still using the same account I did back then, so yeah. I need you to access that calendar via your phone and create a new event for that past date, specifying that you'll buy those calendars. Guess I can do that, since the app does let you add events to the past, though it all seems rather silly. Despite what you may think, I need you to abandon those notions for the next step. Assign the highest priority you can to multiple reminders and compose it in a way that you would have back then, with positive affirmations that you will buy those but will be able to. Alright, but reception's kinda spotty if we're in a metal truck trailer rolling down the road. Just connect to our Wi-Fi. We have a military-grade sat link, but you'll have to place your phone flat on the table so we can see its screen. Security protocols and all that. Okay, what's the password? Redacted. Seriously? 4342 removes his phone from its pocket and follows instructions. I need you to do your best to imagine as though you're back in 2019 and you're making this entry prior to its date. Again, this is silly, and it's still a bit difficult to think back to anything before 5 days ago. You still need to try. 4342 waves its hand over its face again, trying not to hit its muzzle. Dr. Doughton nods sympathetically. It's okay there, love. Focus on the past for now, and I'll be here when you snap back to the present. We are simply trying to replicate as closely as possible the only documented instance of a human utilizing the anomalous abilities of SCP-3577 in order to eliminate as many uncontrolled variables as we can. Yeah, I got it. Scientific method and all that. Try to get as excited about it as you can. The more enthusiasm, the better. Think of it like you're getting yourself an early Christmas present. 4342 takes a deep breath and stares intently into its phone, angling its head so it can't see its reflection. It smiles as it begins to compose a calendar entry. It bounces in its seat a little. And done! Now what? Stay focused on your phone. Don't take your eyes off that event in the app. Keep concentrating on how excited you are to buy those binoculars, and everything you'll do with them once you will have them, and how you'll always keep them with you. Don't stop until instructed to do so. Got it! 83 seconds pass. An alarm goes off. The backpack's weight increases by 0.8 kilometers, or kilograms. Holy shit! It actually worked? The guard points his gun at the backpack. Dr. Antler puts on a face shield and heavy-duty gloves. Dr. Dalton and 4342 look confused, each tilting their head and perking one ear up.
Is all this really necessary?
Welcome to the Foundation. That extra weight could be binoculars, or it could be a hostile entity from another dimension. Luckily, I haven't seen it move, so the chances of that are steadily decreasing. Still, don't ever underestimate the possibilities, even if they're under a kilo. A face hugger probably weighs around that much. 4342 laughs, looks around the room, and stops. Aww. Dr. Ratelican waves a scanner around the outside of the scale, opens the scale chamber, and waves it around again. He then scoots over and checks some papers. Yep, there's now a second copy of my notes. This one has a different weight for the backpack, the one on the scale now, and a pair of binoculars weighing 0.8 kilos has been added to the contents list. Dr. Antler pulls the backpack out of the scale chamber by its strap, waves the scanner around it, sets it down in front of the guard, and slowly opens it. Each item is checked against both lists. Dr. Antler holds the binoculars up to her eyes and adjusts them. It does appear to be a functional, non-anomalous pair of binoculars. Military grade. Rather nice.
You bet they are! Now come on, let me try them.
Dr. Antler rolls her eyes and hands 4342 the binoculars. 4342 bounces in its seat, grabs them, and puts them up to its eyes.
Frickin' sweet! As advertised, though I can't really put them through their paces inside this cramped trailer.
4342 looks around, refocusing the binoculars on every object in the lab trailer. It angles them down, and they bump against its muzzle. It freezes, and all happiness drains from its face. Its ears droop down, and it sets them on the table. It reaches up and rubs its muzzle. Oh,
right. I guess my mind really was back in 2019 for a moment there. My muzzle's been there long enough that I sometimes forget it's there.
I'm here for you, love. You can take all the time you need before they perform any more tests. Keep in mind that we will need to conduct more tests now. We've confirmed you have similar abilities to SCP-3577. We need to gauge their full extent, and hopefully learn more about SCP-3577 in the process. 4342 stares down at the otherwise ordinary object she managed to somehow pull out of the past. As if things weren't already weird enough. Now it turns out I can time travel, too. Again, welcome to the Foundation. We hope you enjoy your stay.
I hope that stay won't be too long.
The duration of your containment will depend on the results of further tests. For now, there is one more test we can perform while en route to Site 64. We will repeat the previous test, but without using a visual aid as a focusing mechanism. Instead, you'll visualize it in your mind.
Okay, I can try.
Once again, I need you to think of another date in late 2019 when you went. Loud radio chatter on the guard's comm. Dr. Antler glares at him. He gets up and opens an observation slot. Those trees look way too closely packed to me. Over.
Whoa, this trailer has windows? Sweet, I can field test these after all.
4342 grabs her binoculars and runs over to the window. Excuse me, what is the meaning of this interruption? noticed an unusual increase in tree density. Probably nothing but a reforestation project. Just trying to confirm this. Yeah, you're right. A lot of trees, but no redwoods. Huh. What's that up in the sky? Video shakes and goes black. Shouting, screaming, and vehicle crash noises. Uh-oh. Sandy. Okay, oh man, I gotta close both of these logs. Incident logs. I take it back a bit. I lied. Just these two. Just these two! I don't want to read the rest. There's so much. If this was the first thing I read tonight, maybe. But, you know, we read SCP 6000, so... You know, and that alone was also pretty bulky. Whew. Let's see, my mouth is already getting a bit dry. So far it seems like coffee is only, like, a temporary solution. But I wonder... I have a little pack of gum that is ice cream flavored. And I wonder if maybe that'll help, like, stir up the salivation glands. Let's give it a try. Okay. Okay. I think it's helping a little bit. Mrs. Seagren, a helpful forest, a giant sponge, and a lot of axolotls. $61.16 at the museum. Jello Girl? But the page doesn't exist. 6101 doesn't exist either. Sorry, sir, this is a copy pasta quarantine zone. Access denied, 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 denied. This one isn't properly hyperlinked. Methuselah's Grove. The least dangerous extra-dimensional rift. The butterfly effect. Let me take a look. I just want to check the article's length. looks like there's a fair bit. It's got a high rating, though. So, I think throwing gum in my mouth has kind of exchanged one problem for another. My mouth isn't so dry anymore, but, like, I gotta chew to keep that up. So, like, I'm always having to pause what I'm saying. The Necromecanomicon. Be nice, man. 64-bit MTF? The Irish problem? Oh no. Arachnolagophobia? Into the Looking Glass? Baby Yggdrasil? Wait. Wait. Fuck your family? Dino vlogs? Alright. Let's just allow our sense of humor to plummet down like children for a sec, huh? Yes! Okay. Here we go. Ah! Of course it does. Okay, so we're not taking a look at this one. That's funny, though. SCP author Cerastus' untitled SCP-6000 contest entry. Cannabis Incognito. Some of these titles. Fuck your family. SCP-6525, Level 5, Top Secret, a rating of 36. Containment class pending. I haven't seen that before. Special containment procedures. Containment of SCP-6525 is currently infeasible. An O5 consensus regarding SCP-6525 is underway. Description. SCP-6525 is the designation given to a CK-class reality restructuring event as initially reported by O5-5. Various individuals across the globe report similar experiences and consistently state that SCP-6525 on the 25th of May, 1998. As of the time of this writing, the effects of SCP-6525 on our reality are not entirely understood, but it is believed to have altered nature and the laws of science significantly. This is a picture taken after an event, and the anomalies affected over 90% of the pictured area. What has it affected? I guess we'll find out as we keep reading. Addendum, SCP-6525 Project. Several days following the emergence of SCP-6525, O5-5 initiated the SCP-6525 project, named Constantinople, with unanimous O5 approval. The SCP-6525 project saw the halt of all non-essential Foundation operations and recruited personnel from various departments such as the Temporal Anomalies Department and the Reality Phenomena Division. The following are excerpts taken from the project proposal. Constantinople Research Team, not available. 28th of May, 1998. Proposal statement: to contain, revert, or otherwise neutralize SCP-6525. See appended documentation. Research Team Lead, O5-5. Assistant Leads, Senior Researcher Kyokatsu, Abeli Kakao. Containment Specialist Jonathan Walters, Senior Researcher Natalie Gear, and Ronesh Naidu. Requested resources. Not available. Resources to be acquired as deemed suitable by Team Leads. See additional requests. Additional requests. Authority over mobile task forces and GOI response initiatives. An immediate halt of non-essential Foundation operations such as research and GOI diplomatic talks. And use of any and all databases as seen appropriate by O5-5. Project details. Project Constantinople will encompass nearly all Foundation operations, requiring each overseer to cooperate and act in unison with the project lead, O5-5. Three major areas of concern to Project Constantinople are outlined as follows. 1. Containment. Due to the inherently anomalous and widespread effects of SCP-6525, containment or neutralization must take place imminently. Personnel from varying departments, including the new divisions created as a result of SCP-6525, have been recruited to ascertain the nature of SCP-6525 and devise a method of containing, reverting, or erasing SCP-6525 from our plane of reality. 2. Information control. Of varying departments and levels, along with members of the general public, reportedly maintain their memory of SCP-6525 occurring. Global efforts must be taken to ensure that SCP-6525 remains hidden and forgotten so as to maintain the veil of normalcy. Investigation and interventions of GOI knowledge of SCP-6525 will also take place. And 3. Research. In order to aid in the containment sector of Project Constantinople, a separate research area has been devised. The purpose of this research team is to investigate and analyze the effects of SCP-6525 on our reality and to ascertain what is anomalous or not. For this purpose, the Site-01 database and all Deepwell servers have been unlocked for the research team's use in order to compare our current state of reality to our prior one. Addendum O5-5 audio logs. Due to his experience with SCP-6525 and the work from Project Constantinople, the O5 Council assigned Site-93 therapist Gabrielle Lobachevsky to O5-5. The following is a series of personal recordings made by O5-5 as part of therapy, and was uploaded per his request. Despite being irrelevant, O5-5's requests to submit his logs were approved in order to improve his morale. Video Log 1. Date June 2nd, 1998. Note: the following recording is the first part of a series of diary entries created by O5-5. The recording took place in O5-5's residence in blank blank. Begin log. The recording begins showing O5-5 sitting at a mahogany desk. Warm lighting dominates, but does not eliminate the view of the background. Various furniture and decoration can be seen. O5-5 sighs, visibly slumping in his seat. The O5 have decided I need a therapist. O5-5 rests a hand on his head and brushes his hair back, avoiding eye contact with the camera. It's only been a few days since the 6525 project kicked off. Now I need a therapist. 05-5 leaning forward. 05-5 clasps his hands together and stares into the camera lens. My main concern isn't about 6525, it's this goddamn... 05-5 whispers and glances aside. Family. I mean, fuck! 05-5's voice increases in volume. One day you're a 20-year-old guy cooking a barbecue and... I should give some context, right? Gabrielle said that I can keep these private, but I'll upload this to the main file anyway. Annoying bitch. Maybe if the others know I'm doing fine, they'll let me off and be at peace. Okay, so, everything started on the 25th. I had a nice barbecue going, but I was a real dumb fuck because I forgot my Toms. For a moment the overseer is quiet and rests a hand on his chin. He looks down before continuing. I think somewhere around then it happened. It's around 2 o'clock. This sickly yellowish color appeared everywhere, coming from this ugly blue sky. And God, the green everywhere. And my face too, it is old as fuck. But like I said, the worst part was what was waiting for me outside.
Daddy, who are you talking to?
Suddenly, 05-5 jolts up in his seat and turns to face the origin of the voice, which is feminine and childish. He glances down and sees in anger. Didn't I tell you not to come in here, you little shit? Silence. I said get out! Sniffling is heard before a door abruptly slams shut. The overseer groans and swindles his chair so as to face the camera again. That is the worst part. Apparently, I have a family now. 05-5 wipes his face with his hands. Damn it. Wait, kiddo, come back. 05-5 exits the frame and can be heard conversing with the child for several minutes. The record is silent for another 4 minutes before the camera deactivates automatically. Video log 9, June 22nd. Note, at this point in time, Project Constantinople was facing trouble with research and investigations. This resulted in an outburst from 05-5, who was then sent home on mandatory leave for 2 days. The recording starts up into the desk and towards the camera. Signs of exhaustion are visible on the overseer's face. The project isn't going anywhere. 05-5 sighs and sinks into his chair further. Our biggest theories yet are a temporal anomaly, rapid biological skip, or a reality shift. It could be any or all three. 05-5 slams the desks in anger. My team is fucking hopeless. Best of the best, Seven told me. Meanwhile, I managed to figure out my wife's name, Mavis. And my kids are, John, Jared, Haley, and Raya. Looks like the wifey and I had a lot of sex or something. Assuming that this is a time thing and not a figment of our imagination. Honestly, they're a bunch of weirdos. I've been spending some time trying to get to know them. I've written down their birthdays and, I have recordings and photos of special days so I have a better picture of their personalities and... Oh shit. Footsteps are heard in the distance and knocking ensues. Yes? It's Mavis. Door opens. Sorry about last night. I know work has been hard. Hey, it's fine. Are you alright? You look like you've been treading on thin ice. I'm okay. Blank. Just come down for dinner, please. Mavis appears on camera, glancing down at 05-5. She grasps his hands with her own. The kids feel left out. Please just... Okay. I'm coming down. Maybe we can watch a movie together. They like that. yeah, but for us too. It's our anniversary after all. She smiles. You remembered. The overseer chuckles and stands, using a hand to lift the camera. After some movement, the camera is seen resting at his side. Of course. Why would I forget our special day? I'm just gonna clean up quickly. You go ahead. The kids have probably destroyed the TV or something by now. Okay. The two smile at each other before Mavis exits. Silence commences for a few seconds before a drawn-out groan is released. God, this is so fucking hard. Let's hope the team figures something out soon. 5-5 motions to disable the recording device. Video log 21, 28th of June. This is important. Don't you care for our well-being? The recording takes place from the floor of a well-furnished kitchen. The legs of 05-5 and Mavis blank can be seen. Well-being? What about the kids? You might as well be gone from here because it wouldn't make a difference. Well, maybe I will be soon. Raya's voice is heard from a distance.
Daddy, what do you have to do at work?
I'm sorry, Mavis. End log. Log 27. On the 28th of July, note, Project Constantinople is complete, and a solution to SCP-6525 is devised with a 94.67% estimated chance of success. In log. So, 05-5 shuts his eyes and exhales longingly. He is sitting at the same mahogany desk. Raya asked me last month what I do at work. What have I been doing? SCP-6525 is due for neutralization tomorrow. I don't know if I can go back now. I've spent all this time learning about these people. It was so fucking annoying, but a life without Raya's Disney songs playing, or without stepping on Jared's Legos, Haley's damn teen songs, and John, well, John is bland, but he'll get there. I can put up with all of this. This green, and trees, and suns, and vegetables. Maybe change isn't so bad. Addendum Final 05 Consensus. July. Proposal. Cancel Project Constantinople and integrate SCP-6525 into normalcy. 05-5. More nays than yays and 2 abstains. Consensus denied. Neutralization of SCP-6525 due in 4 hours as scheduled. I'm not entirely sure I'm understanding what the anomaly is. I mean, I guess, like, yeah, it is a reality restructuring event. Okay, but, like, how I'm a little confused. I might look at, like, the discussions later, see if I can't, like, piece together what is actually going on. Thank you for your service, SCP-6969! I just saw that. Alright, think I have juice for one more article. Series 7. We already read The Rainbow Serpent. Into the wild, unprecedented times, the bioluminescence that roams. Ooh. Habsvalor. 6065, you're doing it wrong. SCP 6123 AKTM presents Media and You. Alright then. Needs level 3 clearance. A rating of 55. That's pretty decent. SCP-6123 Object Class Keter. Special Containment Procedures. Metatron.aic is to scan email servers associated with media production companies, media studies departments at universities, and media-focused publications, such as ET or Variety, for any mention of SCP-6123. Upon confirmation of an SCP-6123 communication, MTF Kappa 43, the mediators, are to be dispatched to administer amnestics to the receiving parties. Me and You, a seminar experience. Let AKTM take you on a media journey. Stratagems concerning physical correspondence related to SCP-6123 are being considered, but at this time no apparent solutions have arisen. Until such time as the originating source of SCP-6123 communications is identified, the anomaly is to be considered Keter. Description: SCP-6123 is a recurrent series of seminar programs entitled Media and You, aimed at fostering discussion of both the interpretation and creation of media. SCP-6123 occurs on an indeterminate basis and within an undetermined exospatial reality, but is reported to resemble a small conference center with capacity for a few hundred attendees. When an SCP-6123 event occurs, certain individuals chosen by currently unknown methodology will receive an invitation. SCP-6123 invitations take the form of email registration requests. Prior to digital technology becoming household knowledge, the invitations were sent by physical mail. All attempts to track the correspondence to their source invariably failed. When the individual addressed on the invitation accesses the webinar, they anomalously manifest in the conference center SCP-6123 is held at. Discovery: Dr. Lillian Lilyhammer of Site-43, a memetics researcher, received the following email and alerted Site Director McInnes. Hello, Lillian. May I call you Lillian? I feel like we already know you so well, with all the wonderful research you've been doing. Given your experience with media research, my team thinks you're a perfect fit for the upcoming seminar we're holding on July 5th at 9 EST. All you have to do is click this link and register with an original username and password. You know, the usual. I'm open for any and all questions you might have. And don't worry about cost. This is a free webinar. Have a great day. Mary. Having noticed that the email had been apparently sent by a member of GOI 5889, Kander need technical media, VKTM, and after discussing the matter with Director McGinnis, Dr. Lilyhammer decided to register for the event. She utilized recording devices on the given date, such as a recording program on her personal computer and backup body camera with vitals monitoring. The following is an abridged transcript of that recording. Abridged. A full recording or transcript is available upon authorized request to Dr. Lilyhammer. Addendum 6123-1, recording of the event, Monday, it was July 5th, right? July 5th, yeah. 2021. Forward. For research purposes, Dr. Lilyhammer will record the webinar as described in the email received from GOI 5889. Transcript. Dr. Lilyhammer powers on her laptop. She is sitting in her living quarters at her personal desk. She sips from a coffee mug as she logs into the web portal provided by GOI 5889's registration process. As the session initiates, Dr. Lilyhammer demanifests from her living brightly lit conference center. What in the fuck? Dr. Lilyhammer drops her cup of coffee, which shatters on the floor. Dr. William Weddle manifests next to her just in time to have the coffee splash over his slacks. A lead replication researcher at Site 43. Son of a bi- Lillian? Weddle? What are you doing here? Also, what happened? I got an invitation to join in on a webinar for media literacy, and then boom, here I am having your coffee splashed all over me. Focus, Weddle. We were just nabbed from the site under unknown anomalous means. Unknown individual. Hello! Doctors Weddle and Lilyhammer, so nice to finally meet you. A female humanoid entity approaches the two researchers. The entity is dressed in a navy blue skirt suit with a bright yellow tie and has a bloody bandage covering her eyes and nose, wrapped around the entirety of her head. Dirty red hair can be seen slipping out of the bandage, and hanging roughly to her shoulders. The suit is immaculate except for droplets of blood on the lapels. Shaking Weddle's hand vigorously. I'm Murray McPherson. We chatted over email. Welcome. Lilyhammer takes a step back from the entity. What's wrong? You did sign up for the seminar, right? You seem to be bleeding. That's just my excited face. We're so glad you've come. Please step up to the registration table with the other attendees and get your name tags. The entity turns away to speak with someone else, who darts around her with a wide-eyed look and heads towards the registration table on the other side of the hall. Does my soul good to see the enthusiasm for media literacy? Okay, you two have fun. I'll be wanting to hear what you think during the breakout sessions. Lilyhammer turns to Weddle. I don't have the faintest clue how we got brought here, and it's pissing me off. But the thing I don't get most of all? Why the hell are you here, Weddle? Are you kidding? What's more relevant to media than replication? Lilyhammer groans audibly. What now? I just hate it when you're right. It happens so rarely, I never see it coming. Lilyhammer and Weddle spend approximately 10 minutes trying to secure an exit from the building, but cannot find any doors or windows that lead to the exterior. Given the lack of available exits, the researchers decide to sit in on the seminars. It just occurred to me that you intentionally signed up for a VKTM seminar without official approval. I skimmed the email. Extraneous 15 minutes cut for brevity, in which Lilyhammer and Weddle go through the registration table and are shown to the first session's meeting room. The first brief meeting outlines the roadmap for the seminars during the day. Said roadmap is recreated below. Media Literacy 101. Let's talk about today's sessions. Theory. Theory in theory. Authors and audiences, messages and meanings, representation and reality. Theory in motion. Making media that matters. Audience engagement. Reading between the lines. The following is an abridged transcript of the sessions provided. Only those sections relevant to the anomaly have been included with this file. Theory. Authors and audiences. The conference room is lit by fluorescent bulbs and populated with over 50 other attendees, each with a name tag and sitting in a folding plastic chair. At the front of the room is a stage with a podium, I assume. The presenter walks up behind the podium and adjusts the microphone. He is a male humanoid of advanced age with lightly purple-hued skin. His voice is strong but metallic. He has no nose, but instead an empty cavity. My name is Rodolfo Boots Gorsak. No, you may not call me Boots. I am here to discuss the first of today's seminars, authors and audiences. Lilyhammer speaking sotto voce. Jesus, he's a barrel of laughs. I don't know, I like him. A woman in front of the two researchers turns around to shh, Weddle. Lilyhammer covers her mouth to laugh. Please no talking, it's rude. Yeah, Weddle. What is this, high school? I'm a doctor! Are you two quite finished? Or perhaps you would like to give the presentation? Neither researchers say anything. Thank you. Where was I? So, the central concept at play here is the vast difference between those who make media and those who consume it. Authors design the content, audiences consume it. Easy, right? Well, there's more to it. If you want to consume media intelligently, or create media with the intent of it being consumed intelligently, the art is important. What do I mean by art? I mean the coding and implanting of meaning in your media, of course. It can get messy. Lilyhammer raises her hand. What? Usually questions are for the end, young lady. Apologies, Mr. Gorsak, but when you say messy, what do you mean? What do I mean? All the viscera, obviously. Now, can I continue? Please hold any further questions. Theory, messages and meanings. Authors and audiences. This session's presenter is a large female entity, height estimated at just under 3 meters. She is wearing a white-on-white three-piece suit. Her voice is quiet but melodic, speech often echoed with a sound matching that of an 1874 Stradivarius violin being plucked. She introduces herself as Herbaceous Willoughby. Meaning is easy. When the author intends the media to say, and how or what the author intends the media to say and how it could be interpreted. We don't really need to belabor that point, I think. Now, the important thing to understand about messages is that the medium matters. What form is your media taking? A novel, a radio show, a dark ritual of Saranur, a podcast, a film? Each has its own positives and negatives regarding the communication of the meaning you as media providers will intend. Whittle clears his throat and just starts speaking at a loud volume. What was that middle one you mentioned? Radio show. I know, it's a wonder to all of us that people still listen to radio. I'm not surprised you forgot it exists. Moving right along. Theory, representations, and reality. The presenter of this session is a quadrupedal entity resembling a moose with stark gray fur from the neck down. Instead of a typical head, the entity has 3 screens on articulated arms that continually flash through various images. The presenter's voice is an 87.89% match to that of deceased TV host Regis Philbin. The entity does not provide a name. Oh jeez. It's been a while since I've listened to Regis's voice. I don't think I can replicate it. Now listen here. Representation is the way you frame the media in question. Production quality, vector, length, star power, writing, all these things make up representation. It's the bow and wrapping paper you put on a gift for your sweetie on Samhain. Samhain, Presenter Gamma proceeds to cough for 12 minutes. During this period, the images on entities' screens depict war, disease, poverty, and common violence. Geez, someone get him a lozenge. Where'd you put it? Excuse me, my allergies have been terrible all week. Now, where was I? Yes. Whereas reality is what the media is actually trying to impart. Take a car commercial or advert for health insurance communicating the joys in life. That is the representation. The reality is they want you to buy a thing. Yeah, pretty much. Lunch break. Lilyhammer and Weddle are in a cafeteria sitting at a round table with food in front of them. Surrounding them are other attendees at other tables. Several Lilyhammer's body camera look emotionally distressed. Many are not eating. One woman wearing a white blazer and a pencil skirt is rocking herself back and forth. She has a name tag that reads Ainsley Earhart. I can't believe you're eating that. Weddle is mechanically eating the meal in front of him. Ham sandwich on rye with avocado and a bag of chips. I'm hungry, Lillian. Look where we are. I'm not eating a thing here. Besides, Grim Countenance Protocol strictly prohibits the consumption of food while in an unknown extra-dimensional space. I notice you're not holding back from drinking the coffee. I'm not a monster. It's Arabica. Arabica? Arabica. Arabica? Weddle nearly falls from his seat as a loud voice starts speaking behind him.
Oh, I'm so glad you like the food, William. I had it flown in from my favorite place in Philly.
The entity turns to Lilyhammer.
Not hungry, Lillian?
No, I'm fine. Just coffee for me.
There are vegan and vegetarian options if you prefer. I want you to have a good time.
McPherson leans over the table as she's speaking to Lilyhammer. Some blood droplets fall from her bandages and land on Weddle's sandwich. No, thank you, though. Actually, I have a question if you don't mind.
Of course I don't mind. That's what I'm here for.
What is it you people are trying to do here? Like, what's the purpose of kidnapping 50-something professionals to attend a seminar in an undisclosed location?
People. Oh, you mean Vikander Need. People, right, we're people. Our goal is to increase media literacy, of course. It's all part of the Better Tomorrow.
Trademark. Recording did not actually register the phrase trademark, but invariably transcripts have included it, and the notation cannot be deleted for unknown reasons. Right. Well then, how about this? Who are the other attendees?
Academics, professionals in the advertising and media production industry, cultists, and many more. You should introduce yourselves. You never know when some networking could lead to a new connection.
McPherson moves on to another table. Weddle is staring at the drops of blood on his sandwich. Still hungry, Willie? Weddle groans and pushes his plate away from him. Application: making media that matters. Gorsock has returned to present for this session. Occasionally he pulls a bottle of Coca-Cola brand soft drink to his nose cavity and pours some inside. Every time he does this, he makes a noise that is interpreted as represent pleasure. Now for the good stuff. Media that matters. See, the question I'm asking is, how do we make sure your media is content that makes an impact on the community? Well, let me tell you, it's not simple. First, the remainder of this session's recording has been redacted for fear of mimetic corruption and for reasons of good taste. Approximately 1 hour passes. Weddle and Lilyhammer exit the conference room. Her breathing and heart rate are elevated. It is clear that she has been crying. She rubs at her eyes. Weddle stops by a trash can to vomit. Application: audience engagement. This session's presenters are Presenter Gamma and an entity consisting of a shower of sparks in the shape of a human male. It is introduced as Javier Carnelian. We've covered the basics, but I know what you're all really here for. How do we get the audience to engage with the media? I'll tell you, there's no one better to speak on that subject than my friend Javier. Take it away. Static and the sound of screeching metal for 3 minutes. Exactly, mimetics. If you want your audience to engage with whatever media you're slinging, you gotta encode that sucker with a mimetic virus. In this day and age of Twitter and TikTok, people only seem to consume in small bursts of attention. So you gotta worm your way into their heads and get them to spread that engagement like the mimetic vectors they've been trained to be their whole lives. Cacophonous explosions reminiscent of a fireworks display persist for 96 seconds. Of course, always meme responsibly. We're not in the business of scorching brain pans, after all. Entity laughs loudly. Presenter Gamma coughs for 30 seconds. wailing and more screeching metal sounds for 22 seconds. No, I'm alright. Just these damn allergies. Anyway, like I was saying, you can't trust the audience to get obsessively invested in your media as easy as it was in the old days. This isn't charity, right? This is about selling products. So trust me when I say, put an infectious mimetic center into whatever your media is. That's the ticket. Application. Reading between the lines. Herbaceous Willoughby makes a return as presenter for the final session. So, in conclusion, the important thing to realize is if you're injecting code and compulsions into your media, then Disney is certainly doing it too. What, you think the Marvel movies are reinforcing the military-industrial complex and making heroes out of billionaires because the source material says so? Media is there to communicate ideas, and the best way for someone to do that is to encode that media with a forced compulsion to the audience to do what they want. Willoughby takes a sip of water and gargles for 30 seconds. God damn it. God damn it, what if it's true, though? You gotta be on your guard when you're checking out the competition. You don't want that mimetic cluster you spent weeks and literal pints of blood on for that Viagra commercial to get mixed up with Warner's new to start a cannibalistic cell of Randian philosophy just because you weren't paying attention. Cross-pollination of media mimetics is dangerous stuff. Just look at the Kardashians. They haven't finished picking out the viscera from the crater and it's almost been 6 months. At the end of the sessions, the attendees, including Weddle and Lilyhammer, were asked to confirm their contact information and handed a goodie bag. After providing their contact information, Lilyhammer and Weddle demanifested and found themselves where they had originally logged into the webinar. Dr. Lilyhammer submitted a proposal to Dr. McInnes for an expanded program of media research on mimetics in all major media outlets and publications. Director McInnes forwarded the proposal to Overwatch Command, but was told the potential cost of such a venture made it unlikely in the current fiscal quarter. The proposal is slated to be considered at the beginning of next quarter. After 6 weeks, all other attendees were identified and administered amnestics. A total of 15 articles describing SCP-6123, written by attendees, were taken off the web and wide-targeting amnestics were encoded in the publications to stem the impact on the public. It explains so much about Disney, to be honest. Yeah! Addendum 6123-2. Upon Drs. Weddle and Lilyhammer's report concerning the events as described in the above log, Director McInnes ordered the goodie bags, designated SCP-6123-1, quarantined and examined under Class A security protocols. They contained 1 black large-sized unisex t-shirt with the Vikander Need logo on the back, and 1 battered cardstock advertisement of the Vikander Needs services with contact information on the reverse side, reproduced below. Reveal image, I guess. We've got you. Reach for your media dreams. Vikander Need is here to build that world. A better world. Alright then. 1 flash drive loaded with a highlight reel of GOI 5889's productions. Contained within is a mimetic cognitohazard with an anomalous effect, implanting a compulsion to sign up for GOI 5889's newsletter, and 1 $60 gift card to Bed Bath & Beyond. Okay. Kind of bizarre. I do like what's her name? Herbaceous Willoughby. Like, just from description. Alright. No, I don't want. Come on. Alright. Bam. You can affect me, but not my audience.
Okay. Stop the main screen. Okay. That was a pretty big ride. My gum has since lost its ability to stimulate my salivation. So it's kind of back to being dry all over again, and now it's vaguely cold because of the minty flavor. I think I remember hearing that the reason that anything that's minty, like spearmint or peppermint, anytime your mouth feels cold inside after eating something minty, is because the mint has a natural, like, component that numbs, like, certain receptors in your mouth, and the result is a similar sensation to, like, having something cold in your mouth. So there's your fun fact of the day. But yeah, SCP-6000. That one was a really good one. I really liked it. And I am happy that it won. I mean, it won for a reason. Alright, Lily Pals. I'm just about spent for tonight. It's a little shorter than I usually do. Like, I usually do like 3.5, 4-hour streams. No, I don't know. I'm feeling it's, I'm feeling my energy cap it's pretty close. So let's find someone to raid. I'm gonna find someone to throw all y'all at. Let's see. Let's go raid, one of my fellow Froggies from the Froggy Army. Frappioko. Right now, it looks like she is playing Deep Rock Galactic. Ooh, Space Dwarves. No, I gotta do the command first. So fun, I'm glad you think so. I love you, wifey. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Okay. Yeah, spelled right. Alright, we're gonna go raid Frappioko, one of my fellow froggies. I don't know if she's playing with friends or not. I know it is a multiplayer game, or it has multiplayer functions. But space mining with dwarves in space. Let's go take a peek-see. So, next Thursday. Not sure what I'm gonna do. I know I'm trying to get some of my art fight pieces done before the month concludes. So maybe, just maybe, I'll stream that again, or I'll stream something else. But I hope to find you all there, and thank you everybody as usual for tuning in. Oh yeah, Swimmy!